What's up? I'm Angie, and you are listening to Podcast That Pays, the podcast for online business owners who want to grow their business and sell their offers using podcasting. If you like no fluff, tell it like it is advice from a marketing-loving podcast agency owner, you are in the right place. So glad you're here. Let's dive in. What's up? It's Angie. I hope you had a beautiful, beautiful holiday season, and I'm so excited to talk to you about the year of podcasting. 2024 is the year of podcasting. So, what does that mean? Well, number one, that's the name of my new offer. That's the name of the new thing that I'm doing that's not a membership, not a group program, and not a course, and not entirely one-on-one. I love to say that because people are like, "Well, what the fuck is it then?" And I love to keep people in suspense, but I will get to that. But what I wanted to talk about the year of podcasting is last year, what had happened was everybody, not everyone, but a lot of people's worlds got rocked in the business world. Okay. A lot of people got their business shit turned upside down, and specifically around marketing, specifically around social media. Um, I think that things did change. Some people were fine. I mean, obviously, people still made sales. Obviously, people weren't, some people did very well. People probably had increases in their revenue this year. I'm sure that some people were fine. So I'm not saying that it was a bum year for everyone, but some people's shit got rocked. Some people went back to work, which, hey, there's literally nothing wrong with carrying your ass back to work, and don't let anybody tell you any different. Like, being an entrepreneur can be so hard, and the ups and downs, highs and lows, dealing with clients, dealing with team, dealing with social media, having to show up every single day, having to think about this shit 24/7, not knowing where your next money is going to come from can be hard. And so people were coasting around here for, I don't know, 2019, 2020, pre-COVID and during COVID. It seemed almost like, I don't know, easy? Dare I say easy? I don't want to say easy because I worked my ass off. I showed up, I was excited, I did what I needed to do, and a lot of people did the same. So I think there was a combination of things going on. People just got fucking exhausted. And then the other thing is that the market changes. The market fucking changes. I don't talk about this to fearmonger, but I want to talk about this to normalize that the shit fucking changes. What you do to set up your marketing this year may not be what's working next year. You will have to grow and change and adapt and shift with the market, especially in marketing, because our consumers get tired of the same old, same old. So the more that we can be creative, the more that we can stop being the same, the more that we can sort of step outside of the box. Number one, stepping outside the box, I've really been thinking a lot about that. How do we step outside of the box, be more creative, do things people haven't seen done so that we can grab attention? Because that's what it's all about. It's grabbing attention. But then the second part of that is, how do we build out true marketing systems that support us, that run in the background for us, that are out there working for us and selling our offers while we are doing everything and being creative and trying to come up with new things? It's almost like having that structure and support for your creativity, for your risk taking, you know? And I feel like in 2023, I feel like what happened was a lot of people found out that they didn't have any fucking structure and support. A lot of people found out that one little shift to the algorithm, or they have to work a little bit harder, or maybe they were burnt out. Like, and a lot of people found out that, it's not all, yes, it's easy to reach out and touch people on social media, but it's also hard. It's also, yes, it's free, but it also costs. it costs time and energy and effort. No marketing is truly free, just so you know, is my thoughts. Like, no marketing is truly free. This is something that requires time and effort, and it requires money. So, back to year of podcasting because I love this for us and I love this for me. So, why did I do year of podcasting? What does that mean? What am I talking about? Well, I think it's time. I don't think, I know two things. Number one, it's time to get back to the basics and build foundational marketing things into your business. I remember specifically, I used to, if you don't know this about me, I started out in the blogging, dating. I was a dating and relationship blogger back in like 2008. And everything that we did back then was all about blogging, SEO, email, writing copy. It wasn't at the time of the social media boom. Like this is back in the time when I used to write statuses like when Facebook used to ask you what's on your mind and you used to say, I'm writing solo. I saw a funny post the other day. Oh my God, you have to love Facebook memories because I saw a Facebook memory the other day and it was like, I'm writing solo. And then I looked through the comments and legitimately my brother's ex-fiance is in the comments telling me about her and my brother's drama. And I'm just laughing back and forth. Yes. She was like, girl, me too. And I was like, what you mean? Like you dated my brother, girl. Like how you riding solo? Anyway, so like Facebook memories are hilarious, but also remind me of the time that we didn't use Facebook for this shit. Like that wasn't our number one way that we attracted clients. Now, I will say that it is the easiest way to reach out and touch people. And I love that I can do that with social media. If I need to go make some money today, I could just hit the social media streets. I can message people, I can post things, and I can make money, which is beautiful. And I love about social media. And I'm never going to say, we don't need social media. I think it's important for your business. Although I have entertained the idea of doing like having all of my marketing only come from podcasting. So like only using podcasting for a whole year to market my business to like prove to people that that's what you can do and not using social media. But I like social media. I just don't like for it to be the thing that I have to depend on. And that's where I'm going in 2024 is back to basics, back to solid foundational principles, back to how do we get people to come here organically? How do we get people to come and find out about me without me showing up every day? How do we get this working in the background? Back then in 2008, the way you did that was through blogging and SEO and email, right? It was through words you wrote on a page and how you positioned yourself for people who were looking for the thing that you sold, how you position yourself online for those people to be seen by those people. And then we went into social media boom. So back then it was blogging. Now, now I love for this the podcasting platform because there's a couple of reasons why I love this platform so much. And if you listen to me, if you listen to this podcast, you know some of those reasons already. Reason number one, audio is so fucking powerful. It is so freaking powerful. I have a client, she's a hypnotherapist. When I was helping her outline her podcast, she was like, I have to be so careful what I'm saying in my podcast because I don't want to basically hypnotize people. It's not hypnotize people, but she knew the power that audio had and she wanted to be very intentional with her words around it. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy because there is so much power in your words. Okay. So speaking from and I have no idea like science behind that, to be honest. So you might be listening to that. You might be like, that's totally unproven bullshit. And you might be right, but we're going to go with it. Okay. Until someone can disprove that for me. Number two is that it's much more accessible to listen to a podcast than consume any other form of content. It's just so accessible. You can listen to it on the go. You can listen to it while you're washing the dishes. You can listen to it on your commute. You can listen to it while you're making dinner. So that fact makes it easier for people to actually consume it. And so they do consume it. Like the consumption rate of a podcast is like 86%, which is crazy higher than any other consumption rate on any other platform. You're not competing with other posts. You're not competing with somebody scrolling. Hey, they might be scrolling while they're listening to your podcast. Because I know I do like multiple things at one time. When I'll be watching TV, I'll be playing a game, I'll be editing a podcast. Like I have to have lots of stimulation at one time. I don't really know what that says about me, but that's just how it is. Man, by the way, recording with a cold is very, very hard. Like I'm taking lots of pauses and having to stop, but I had to get this done and I had to talk about this. But it is very hard. So kudos to you if you show up recording your podcast when you have a stuffy nose because you legitimately cannot breathe. Like there's literally, I keep having to pause to actually take breaths. So, number 2 is that it's actually accessible and people consume it. Number 3 is that the reason why I love it is that it's so intentional coming to a podcast. It's not the same if I'm scrolling Facebook. It's not the same vibes. No one is coming to this podcast that pays to listen to this. No one's coming to listen to this unless they are interested in podcasting, they have a podcast, or they want to start a podcast. That's the only reason that someone would come to this podcast. They didn't just happen upon here and decide to consume this entire podcast episode. Like it's for a purpose.
Hey, if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, I really need to up my podcasting game, or you want to start utilizing your show more for your business to get more leads and sell more offers, then I want you to come over to podcastthatpays.com and check out the Podcast Collab Lab. That's podcastthatpays.com and check out what we're doing over there. I would love you to join us. Okay, back to the show.
It's very intentional. And so for that reason, I love the platform as well. And that's the same as like blogging as well. It's intentional. And the biggest difference between, blogging and podcasting would just be that people prefer to listen than read these days. Like people's attention span is like at 0. People have to be doing 800 different things at one time. So we're all multitasking. So we're not sitting here watching long form videos. Sometimes we are, but it's less easy to be able to consume from anywhere. And also then reading, is much harder or requires more effort, right? So we want the path of least resistance for people. So this is why I love podcasting. This is why I want to, in 2024 is the year we go all in on podcasting. This is the year of podcasting. This is the year that we build out amazing marketing systems around your podcast. And I'm saying your podcast because this is my new offer and I love it so much. And it's also something that I'm doubling down on in my business as well, is how do I use audio for every freaking thing in my business? How do I plug all the holes in my marketing? How do I use audio to do that? So for me, what that looks like is building out my podcast website and blog pages and SEO around my podcast, for one. It also looks like me getting more traffic to my podcast from Facebook ads. It also looked like me growing my audience through Facebook ads, Facebook, Instagram ads, using my podcast content. It also looks like building out funnels from lead magnets using my podcast content. It also looks like having email sequences that are moving people through my sales process using my podcast content. It also looks like me being a guest on other podcasts to get more visibility to my podcast. And it also looks like exploring ways that I can use audio and actually use podcast ads. So me placing ads in other places where audio is, audio only ads. So in other podcasts on platforms that have audio ads, and testing those strategies to get people who are already listening to podcasts over to my podcast. And then it also looks like collaborations. And how do I lean into my collaborations in the podcast community to help us leverage each other's audience and grow our podcast. And by growing our podcast, we then also are looking at and digging into how are we using our podcast to funnel people through? Where are people going? How are we being intentional with our content? How are we using this, right? So that's what it looks like for me. And what it looks like for you could be different. It probably will be a little bit different depending on where you are, what your goals are, how much you want to be on social media, whatever that is, right? Oh, and one more thing about my podcast or about podcasting that I definitely want to do is being more intentional about using my podcast content to repurpose on social media and create a content calendar on social media that is smart and easy for me, where I am not recreating the wheel, but I'm pulling from my podcast content. So it's working for me in so many ways. 2024 is the year that we put our podcast to work for us. Okay? Are you with me? And we're doing that because we're getting back to basics. We're building a solid foundation so that shit, if you don't want to show up for a month on social media, you still have a solid marketing system working for you in the background. And I think that that's so valuable and so important. And I really want that for all of us in 2024. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're building out. And I want you to join me to do it. So if you are in that place where you're feeling like, yes, I love podcasting, or maybe you haven't launched, but you know that this platform is for you. You know that you want to go deeper than on social media. You know that you express yourself better through audio and you want to double down on it, then this is for you. If you've started your podcast and you're like, I need to put a lot more intentionality behind this, or maybe I'm not getting the results I thought that I would get, or maybe you've been having this podcast idea forever, but you just can't seem to get it done. You should come and join us so that we can get it done together. So, year of the podcast, 2024. It's the year we go all in. It's the year we build out marketing systems. It's the year we get more intentional. It's the year we put our podcast to work for us. It's the year we start converting from our podcast. It's the year we start growing our audience from our podcast. It's the year we let our podcast be the anchor of our content marketing so that it makes everything easier for us. That's what 2024 is for us. Or if you're joining the year of podcasting, that's the goal. And let me tell you something. The reason why I said not a membership, not a group program, not a course, not a one-on-one is because it truly is a hybrid experience. It truly is a way to fill this gap and I've been doing this for about 5 years now. And one thing that I see more than anything is inconsistency, is people come to me and get strategy like crazy, but they never show up and do it. What people need is accountability, implementation support, and customized plans and roadmaps for where they are. People don't need to be lumped into a membership. And granted, I have a membership, $10 a month membership. And really, I should not call it a membership. I should just call it a subscription because it's really just a subscription to my content. So people don't need that because very few people who are in that membership of mine actually launch and get results and do what they're supposed to be doing. Most people just ignore it. Most people never even open the content. And I mean, I could say that's on me. I know my content is amazing. I could say I don't care as long as people pay me, which to some degree that is true. I mean, if you don't want to use the resource that is right there for you, that has gotten people, I mean, even people I work with one-on-one, my production clients, I refer them to the content in my membership. I'm like, hello, go watch this video. Hi, go watch this video. Go refer to this. But most people don't do it. I mean, number one, it's a $10 a month investment, so it's easy to forget about. And you're like, oh, well, it's $10 a month. Like I spend that, I blow that in a day. And so you're not like super concerned about losing money or losing out. And so it just sits there. And so people don't need a membership, right? When it comes to podcasting. People don't necessarily need a group program where it's like, okay, these are the pillars that we're walking through. We're going to do this now. We're going to do this now. We're going to do this now. Because I know that I've been in group programs. I don't always show up for the calls. I don't always show up to do the things. And it's not just that. It's that sometimes the blanket group program of this month we're doing A, and we're going to have this guest speaker, and we're going to have this, this month we're going to have this guest speaker. I think people need more customization and more implementation support and one-on-one, right, to actually get the results in this area. And this is just what I've seen. And it's not just a course. Yes, there's a training library with lots of videos and things to access to learn how I teach, what I teach in podcasting. That's included, but it's there as a resource. It's not just another course you'll never open. So, what do they need? What is Year of Podcasting? It's all about mapping out your roadmap. So, working together to figure out what your goals are, mapping out your roadmap, and have being in community, yes, but for collaboration, for support, to ask questions, whatever you need to support each other through the process. The podcasting community is so important to your podcast and the growth of your podcast. I wish that more people would lean into that. And just like what I just said, like, even for me and for my goals, community is important because I want to collaborate with people. I want to go be a guest on other people's podcasts. I need to dig into my network in podcasting to get to my goals and to get in front of new people. So, this is why Year of Podcasting was born. It's because I saw a gap. People aren't getting their shit done. People are launching podcasts and it's not working for their business. It's not giving what it's supposed to give. It's not. And I'm ready to change that with you. I'm ready to help you go all in. I want you to grow your podcast. I want you to learn how to market it effectively. I want you to learn how to track and look at the metrics of what's happening and to know what steps to take. How do we truly grow something if we don't put intention behind it? We don't. So, anyway, Year of Podcasting. It is a hybrid one-on-one group program, membership, course, all in one. You get one-on-one support, meaning we're mapping out your own personal roadmap. You get to be in community with people. We do, instead of having group trainings weekly or having a guest expert come in and talk about something just to fill the space and have some fluff and to feel like you're getting more value, we're doing something called implementation workshops, which means we're going to implement and work together to implement your personalized roadmap. So we are going to talk about what are the things that you're going to accomplish in our first quarter of being together. So we'll have implementation workshops where we'll actually get together and work together and say, okay, what do we need to actually do? What are the goals? How do we break this down? And then we're also going to have monthly check-ins because we need accountability. People need accountability. I'm sorry. I hired a coach this past fall, Leanne Hale, and I love Leanne if you know her. I love her. And one of the things I told her was, she wasn't giving me no, like, granted, she's very smart, very, very smart, very smart. She helped me double, triple, I don't know, my sales. But a large part of that had to do with having someone to bounce ideas off of, having someone to hold me accountable, having someone to be there to support me, having someone to help me come up with strategy and then implement it, teach me, show me how to implement it, or be there with me while I was implementing it. And I had success. And there's something to this. I think that this is the direction that what people are wanting, buyers. That if you know Leanne, you know she does these trends videos about buyers. I'm going to have to ask her. I think this is like one of the trends is that people are wanting customized solutions. They don't want to be lumped into like, here's my course and group program and have to figure it out for themselves. People are wanting a clear roadmap. And so that's what I want to give you in your podcasting. So I hope that you'll join me. And of course, I will put, information about this in the show notes. And you can go to podcastthatpays.com and you can check out the offer. It is, and I'll just tell you a little bit about it while we're chatting. I'll tell you a little bit about it. So there's 3 tiers. There's 3 different tiers. There's the general tier, there's the implementation tier, and then there's the mastery tier. So in the general tier, and here's the things that you get. You'll have the training. You'll have a training library. We'll do the implementation workshops quarterly. You get a one-on-one session with me to outline the roadmap for your podcast. You get monthly accountability check-ins, which are done not by a one-on-one call, but they're done through a system that'll be automated, and you'll have to submit your things every month, and I will review them. You'll get to be in the community. And then once a month, the last week of the month, we will have open Voxer access with me, but it's just 1 week out of the month. And, Monday to Friday, you can Vox me and ask me anything. And I'm doing that in lieu of like a group coaching call. I just feel like Voxer is more accessible. So then the next tier is the implementation tier. You get everything I just told you, plus you get podcast production as well. So this is where we'll produce your podcast for you, 4 episodes a month. Everything else happens the same, except the monthly accountability check-ins are monthly calls that you can have with me. And then if you do sign up for the implementation tier, whether it's a payment plan or pay in full, you get a free ticket to Podcast and Prosecco spring event, which is happening in Nashville in April. So that's the implementation tier. And then the mastery tier is everything that's included in both of those things, plus the quarterly in-person implementation workshops. Well, the quarterly workshops are actually in person, where you can come and hang out with me, and I'll rent out a podcast studio, and you can come and record your little heart out. And you can come and do work with me. And those will be once a quarter in person if you want. There's going to be a group VIP weekend in August of 2024 where we will get together and I will take care of you and you will come and we will work and we will map things out and we will hang out and we will have a lovely time. And in addition, you will get social media assets at this mastery tier and emails. So what that means is normal production, you get for every episode, we would put in your folder a social media graphic, a quote graphic, and, your edited episode and your transcript. So what we're going to do in the mastery tier is we're also going to do some of your social media assets as far as writing posts for you. So we will include all of those, the quote graphics plus an audiogram. Plus we're going to write posts for you. It's like 5 posts that we will write for your social media that you can use to market each episode. So every episode will already come pre-marketed for you. All you have to do is post the stuff. And we'll do an email per episode as well. So that is the difference. And then we also quarterly have a metric update to track growth and progress as well in the mastery level. Anyway, I'm getting too much in the weeds here talking about the program. But like I said, if this is your year, if you really know that you want to commit, and it's only for you if you want to commit, and it's not a rolling membership, we're starting February 1st, and you're going all in with me until next February 1st. And it's closed. Once February 1st starts, we're done. And I want to keep the integrity of this container where I can really work closely with people and really get to dig in with people and not have lots of different clients coming in and out and not doing work and people who show up, people don't show up. I want to have a solid group of folks that I can really dig in with and say, okay, this is what we're doing. This is how we're truly getting to your goals that you're wanting for your podcast. And then the goal of this is by the end of the year, you will actually have shit done. You will actually be able to say that you moved the mark. You will actually be able to say that, hey, I implemented this. Hey, this was my goal. Here is where I got to. You'll be able to see clearly how you got to, where you got to in that goal, in that process, what else you might need to do, how it worked, what are the results of this. And so you won't spend another year shooting or another year wishing that you had done something. You will have had done something for sure. So it's this will not be another year of you saying that you're going to launch your podcast and not doing it. This will not be another year of you saying that you should double down on your podcast. That's not what we're doing in 2024. That's not what year 2024 is about. Year 2024 is about actually moving the needle and getting results. So if you want to do that, if you're ready to really go all in, and that's the other thing, this is for people who want to go all in on their brand and use podcasting as an integral part of your brand and your thought leadership and how you're building your portfolio for speaking on stages and getting that book deal. You got to make the shit good. Let's not half step this shit if you're going to do it. It requires too much time and energy and effort to then half-ass it and not maximize it. That's the word. Let's maximize. Let's maximize your efforts this year. Let's double down on that. Let's take some heavy lifting off of throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping it sticks and doing all these things and nothing is working or it's not doing what it's supposed to do. That's the point. Okay. So I hope that you'll join me. If you have any questions, feel free to Vox me. Hit me on the Voxer at Angie M. Jordan. Hit me on the Voxer. Hit me on the 2A. Do you remember that song, Hit Me on the 2A by Genuine? And do you remember 2A pagers? Oh my God. Thought they were the coolest thing. And I could never have one. But it was essentially just like text messaging um, in a 2A pager. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I remember Genuine song, Hit Me on the 2A. But hit me on Voxer. Hit me on the 2A Voxer. And we could talk about what tier is right for you. We could talk about if it's right for you because I want you to be all in on it. I don't want you to like not want to do it. Like, I don't want you to not be sure. I want you to go all in. Like, I want you to feel like this is the platform that you are going to get results from, that you love, that you want to use. And then we go all in on it. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much for listening. Hop on over to my Voxer. If you have any questions, hop on over to podcastthatpays.com if you want to check out the offer. I hope that you, again, had a beautiful holiday season, and I hope to hear from you and see who I finally, who I get to work with in this year of podcasting. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being here and listening, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week.
Hey, if you enjoyed the show, head over to podcastthatpays.com to get started on your way to creating a podcast that pays. And don't forget to follow this show and take a screenshot that you were listening and tag me on Instagram at Angie M. Jordan. I'd love to meet you and show you some love over there. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. Let's get this money.